weeping may endure for a night tells me that it's not forever. Tough times don't last forever. It may seem like they last forever, but they don't last forever. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy eventually comes in the morning. At the end of that 30th chapter of the Psalms, it says, "You, God, have turned my mourning, my sadness, into dancing." It takes time, sometimes years, to recover from that which has happened to us. And the memory and the anniversaries of those events can bring tears to our eyes. It'll be a year and a week or so when I lost Wesley, and I've been thinking about him. Weeping endures for a night, but there is joy. Comes in the morning. And so, like Lincoln, I think in order to live and to love, that we have to find some things and people who can make us laugh. This has not been an easy week for me, and I wish I could just quickly come up with quick jokes to make you all laugh this morning. One of my students yesterday, upon learning that I'm a minister, said, "I have some jokes that I'd be glad to give you." You have to know this student. Before she knew I was a minister, the joke was very off color. And then when she discovered I was a minister, it reminds me of some of the fishermen down at the cafe saying, "If I've ever said anything in your presence that was not right, I ask you to forgive me." And I said, "Hell no." But she was talking about this baptismal service where they dunk people. And by immersion, and that's a wonderful thing. We can do that in the Methodist church. I don't know if you know that, but most people take the drops of water. But she was talking about the preacher who was baptizing. And I guess the fellow who he was baptizing was kind of a tough living man, so the preacher gets him out in the middle of the lake and puts him down under and brings him back the first time, says, "Have you found God yet? Have you found Jesus?" And the fellow says, "No, I don't think so." And then he put him back down again, brings him back up and says, "Have you found Jesus?" And he says, "No, I don't think so." And he puts him down one more time and asks him the question. The guy comes back up and says, "Have you found Jesus?" He said, "Are you sure you lost him down here?" It brightened my day to have her tell me that. In the middle of the storm, there is a center that we can find where there's some stillness. And no matter what you're going through and how tough it is, it doesn't say that weeping doesn't happen. But oh, as my good friend Till Evans, that 86-year-old Brit that still teaches me from California, I call her and talk with her, and she was my professor in Berkeley. As she says, there's nothing like good wine, good friends, good soup, cheese, and bread. And I agree with that. And no matter what you're going through this morning, it can be turned around by taking some breaks. The story of the gospel, I find it significant that Jesus began his ministry by turning water into wine. I have to be honest with you. I have never heard a literalist preach on that sermon. Because if you're a prohibitionist, and you look at the first line, the first miracle of Jesus, where it says he turned the water into wine, let me tell you, it's difficult to preach if you believe you shouldn't drink wine. Now, imagine having a festivity like a wedding. I know you'll never have this problem. Having a festivity where you have more guests and run out of wine. What a horrible thought. Run out of provisions. And Jesus is invited to this wedding. That says so much about Jesus to me. So often we think of Jesus on the cross. We think Jesus, dealing with people that were not doing well by others and confronting people and healing people. But Jesus started at a wedding. I like that. It shows me he was human and that he had some very loving characteristics. And they come to him and said, do something. And he turned water into wine. I'm not going to explain that. I don't know. But I do know this. That Jesus knew how to have a good time. And in the midst of it all, even when there are shortages, there are stories that Studs Terkel wrote about the Depression, about how hard it was. But those of us who have read or lived through the Depression, or our parents and grandparents have talked about it, people pulled together and somehow they made it. And it was gathering around the table and putting the beans and the hot dogs together or whatever it was that made it work on Saturday night. But they made it. And I'm suggesting to you this morning that success, as you read, I always thought it was Emerson that wrote that. Success is learning to laugh. It's good friendship. And it's taking a break from always trying to deal with the stress. We're never going to be stress-free. I think until the day we die, we're going to face things in our lives. But I'm encouraging you this morning. Don't let it get you to a point where you stop laughing. Laughter is a great tension breaker. And there are times when you just have to look at the person that you're closest to and laugh and say, you know what? This is so ridiculous. Let's just take a break. Let's back off. Jesus did it with his disciples. The promise is that we don't always have to weep. There's joy. There's joy. May this morning, no matter what you're going through in this life, you'll take a minute or a break to live and to laugh